What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NBA podcast. Back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on the show as always. Dustin, good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here.
And we got a special guest. We got Pavy from Hoops N Brews. Pavy, good to have you on, man.
My dog, how you feeling, bro?
Doing good, man. We just watched a hell of a series with Celtics and Heat. I mean, 7 games. That was a great series, man.
It
I
was,
love
it
the
was, it was, it
I like
was, it
these
was.
playoffs this year. Yeah.
It's
So
kind
real quick, you're the creator and co-host of Hoops and Brews Media. Um, and check out proverbs.com for Polly's album Songs About Women and the Chicago EP.
my dog,
Um,
appreciate you.
yeah, no problem. How's all that going? I mean, I remember you guys being covering the Clippers, being Clippers media. I love you guys' content at Hoops and Brews. How's that all
Thank you.
going?
I mean, yeah, man, it's going good. Still doing the same things. I mean, obviously, I've been kind of on, I want to say vacation for like 2 weeks, but it's still going good, man. We still doing the same things. We've been covering Clippers for, I want to say at this point, well, it's 4 years actually. The year KD tore his Achilles is the first year that we covered the Clippers. So that was like the first playoff series that we did, the Clippers Warriors playoff series. And what was that? 20, I want to say 18 now, 2018?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, 20, no, well, the 18-19 season was the first season that we ended up covering. So yeah, we've been doing that for 4 years. Covering the WNBA for 4 years as well.
Nice.
So yeah, man, just doing all of that, just
Dustin is really jealous of you that we've seen that face-to-face interview you did with Derrick Rose.
That was actually the first interview I ever did, bro. Like
Wow.
the first game I ever covered. I ended up getting a chance to interview Derrick Rose. Like it was super cool. 'Cause, like I caught him outside the locker room. Technically, you're not really supposed to catch people outside the locker room, but I caught him outside the locker room, and that was like the first interview I ever did was with D Rose. Yeah,
But
shout out D Rose for taking the time to talk to me, and also me being from Chicago. That was a very cool first interview to get. So shout out
yeah,
D Rose for taking the time to talk to me.
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Um, so
Yeah,
let's get
that,
in. Yeah, let's get into some of these playoffs. I mean, I was kind of sleeping on the Celtics going into the playoffs. You know, we've seen them time and time again. The core of Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and these guys like just not go as far as the expectations. You know, and this year though, the defense was ramped up. You got Marcus Smart winning the Defensive Player of the Year, and we just saw a hell of a series with Miami. We go 7 games. Jimmy Butler missed that three in the final seconds. What did you think of that shot attempt by Jimmy? You think that was a good shot?
Like you can't really like one Horford was like he was backpedaling. So technically he was open. Obviously Jimmy isn't the best 3-point shooter, but technically he was open. Two, like the man had played 48 minutes. Like he played 48 minutes of basketball. So he's probably dead tired. Also,
Yeah,
if you got to realize, they have been down the entire game. So if you have a chance to take the lead after being down the entire game, like, yeah, I could go and try to get a layup, tie the game up, but that's not the same as putting the pressure on a team of being up finally when you've been down the entire game. Like, if Jimmy would have made that shot, I personally don't think the Celtics. This is a tie ball game. You never know what happens. Even if it goes to overtime. Again, like Jimmy far and away had been carrying the team on his back. He's tired, wild tired. So I don't think it was a bad shot. I think it was a make or miss shot, and he happened to miss it. Like if he makes it, we're talking about that being probably the second biggest shot in the history of the Miami Heat franchise.
yeah, and
So like what?
yeah, and so Horford's defense. I've been really impressed with Horford's defense, especially like
No,
this year.
no, Al. No, there's been like again, everybody talking about Jason Tatum, and I want to talk about Al Horford. To me, for the most part, not throughout the Nets series and throughout the Bucks series, Al Horford had been far and away, in my personal opinion, the best player on the Subjects. Like Al Horford
Yeah,
was doing things that I hadn't even seen Al Horford do in his prime. Like I think
yeah,
he had a 140 offensive rating throughout like it was like he's had crazy offensive ratings throughout the first two series. I think this series was a little bit different, obviously. I think he had a false positive for COVID, whatever he had, I don't know. But the COVID thing, he set out 2 games or 1 game, whatever it was. So that may have threw him off a little bit. But throughout the first 2 series of the playoffs, and even in game, I think it was 5. Like Horford has been arguably the best player on the Celtics throughout this playoff run.
Yeah, it's cool to see a veteran stepping up like that, playing great basketball. Dustin, go ahead. You got a question?
Yeah, so on Thursday night, it's Celtics and the Warriors starting the finals. Who do you think wins the championship, and how many games is the series going? And who's the X factor? Who needs to win Finals MVP for their team to win?
The Warriors, okay, I'm gonna say the Warriors win the finals. I'm gonna say the Warriors win the finals, not because I think the Warriors have such a better team than what the Celtics do, because I don't think even the Warriors had such a better team than what Dallas even had. I don't like this year's Warriors team, even though I like them. I don't think they're as dominant as they were in prior years. But the thing that I think they do better than other teams is just be smart. Like even when I watched them run offense as opposed to the Mavericks or opposed to the Heat, opposed to even Boston at times, I feel like the Warriors run offense with intention. Like they don't just swing the ball around or just drive and kick. They don't play accidental offense. Like the Warriors, in my personal opinion, run offense with actual intention. Like the things that you see them do, they meant to do. Some of the other teams, I think, is kind of mistake basketball. Like it works, or it's just like they make the game harder for themselves. So I'm gonna say the Warriors in 6, just because I trust Boston's defense a lot. I think Boston has great defense. I just hate the way they play offensive basketball. I think Tatum makes the game harder on himself than what he has to. I think that the Celtics in general make offense harder than what they have to. They just swing the ball around and just shoot threes a lot of times. And when it's going in, it's great. And when it's missing, it's not great. It's just make or miss basketball. As far as who's the X factor for the Warriors, I mean, the Warriors is different than the Celtics. I think the Celtics have to have a lot of things go right for them to win. I think the Warriors have to play their game. Like, for instance, right? I think Steph Curry could have a series in which he has an okay series and they still win the finals.
Yeah.
Because they have so many guys. Like Steph could have like 24 points on 45 or 44% shooting and they still win the series because Poole could have a game, Clay could have a game. Draymond could affect something his way. Otto Porter could randomly have a game. I mean, you even saw what Kevon Looney did last series. Like they have so many guys who could have a game, and they also create a lot of easy looks with the offense that they run. That they can get away with somebody not having quote unquote the best shooting game. As far as the Celtics, who I think the X factor for them would be, I think Robert Williams is one. For one, just his athletic ability. I don't think the Warriors have faced a center as athletic as Robert Williams in the finals at all. Damn near they haven't faced a center athletic as Robert Williams, if I remember correctly, ever. Damn near in the finals, not in the final, in the playoffs for the most part. A center as athletic as Robert Williams. I think he could be a person that can help disrupt the lob game that they have. Also for the Celtics, but I'm also looking at Jason Tatum a lot. Because, I mean, I even said on Hoops N Brews earlier, like, I don't think Jason Tatum, the credit that people have been harping on Jason Tatum, I think the Celtics as a whole should get that same amount of credit.
Yeah.
I think that Game 7 against Boston is probably the closest game to a defining game that I think Jason Tatum has had so far. Because Giannis was trying very hard and Tatum was saying no. At the same time, I think we all kind of realized at like a certain point that the Bucks were just outmatched, especially with not having Middleton there. They were just outmatched. So I think just Tatum, if Tatum can walk on the court and be the best player on the court 5 out of 7 times, I think Boston can win this series. If he can't, I think they won't win this series. I don't think he will be. So I'm taking the Warriors to win the series, like I said, in 6 games.
Yeah, to that point, I think that this is one of those years, like remember when Iguodala won MVP? It wouldn't surprise me if Wiggins, because of his defense on Tatum, and if he can provide some offense, I like Wiggins as a sneaky Finals MVP, maybe Draymond for his defense. What do you think on that?
Wiggins or Clay. I think
Clay, yeah.
Clay is a guy. It just especially everything Clay's been through the past 2 years. If he comes out here and he's a guy who, I don't know, has a defining, game 5 or averages like 23 points, which I do think is possible. If he does something like that, I think Clay can end up winning it. But in general, the Finals MVP is a little bit of an overrated award to me, personally. So I don't say I don't care. I think it matters, but yeah, I can see Clay winning that award. I can see Wiggins winning that award. But for the Celtics, I think for them to win this series, Tatum would have to be hands down the winner of that award, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and there's some pressure coming off of winning that Larry Bird award. He needs to play like Larry Legend coming up.
I mean, that was so funny to me because I also think he kind of won it by default. I don't think that he was far and away the best player on the Celtics. I don't think he's been far and away the best player on the Celtics at all throughout his entire playoff run. I don't think that's what Jason Tatum has been. I think that I think he's been quote unquote the best player, but again, it's by default. Now, Jason Tatum's defense and his playmaking has impressed me much more than just his total all around offensive game, even though playmaking is part of offense. But his defense and his playmaking has impressed me more than his total offensive game. He hasn't shot 50%, I don't think, for any series. He's a front court player. He's 6'10". He hasn't done that. But defensively, if you gave out a defensive player with award for the playoffs, Tatum has to get some awards for that.
Wow.
So far for the playoffs.
Question, Alex.
Go. Yeah, that's number 8 next for you, but go ahead.
Yeah. So with the Celtics still being young, is this more important for Steph Curry or is it more important for Jason Tatum to win this series?
As far as what aspect? We're talking about legacy, or what are we talking about?
Is this? Do you believe this is the only chance Tatum's going to have to win it,
or the best chance?
Yeah, the best chance.
No, because when I look at when I look at I don't know, because when I look at the Eastern Conference for next year, I don't think I see any teams that weren't there this year that can be there next year. Just off the top of my head. Obviously we don't know what happens with free agency, so I don't know. We have no idea. But I don't, just off the top of my brain, I don't see any teams that aren't there this year that won't be there next year. Meaning you have the Bucks, you have the Sixers, you have the Heat, you have the Celtics. I think those teams will stay pretty consistent as far as next year goes. The Western Conference, the Pelicans, I think, can be up there with anybody next year, considering Zion's health. The Clippers, we can't discount the Clippers. The Clippers, I think, can be there. The Lakers, I don't think they're a championship team, but I do think if they can stay healthy, they can have something to say about how things go. So I don't think it's, quote unquote, more important for either one, because same time, I don't think the Warriors are going anywhere next year. I think they have obviously the number 2 pick, James Wiseman, has not played all year.
That's what's crazy. Yeah.
He was a number 2 pick, has not played all year. He can come back. They have Kuminga. They do have Moses Moody. They still have Jordan Poole. They'll have Clay with a year or 2 years off of his injury, back in full swing. They'll still have Draymond. They'll still have Steph. So I don't think either team is if we don't win this year, we can't ever get back. I don't know if we'll see a repeat champion, but I don't think either team is if we don't win this year, we can't get back. Because the thing with the Celtics, I think everybody kind of wants to break them up a little bit too soon, but they haven't been around that long.
Yeah.
I know, we aren't really used to seeing teams stay together 5 years, but the core of this team, like you said, is still really young. Tatum went to the conference finals as a rookie. He's 24 years old now. This is usually the time when guys start to hit their swing and start to hit their peak. So I don't think it's the best chance for either team. I just think it's a chance for both teams.
Real quick on that, so how important do you think, because there's been a lot of talk, and I agree that Finals MVP isn't everything it's cut out to be, but people like to hold that over Steph Curry's head. How important is it for, in your opinion, for Steph Curry to match LeBron in amount of rings? And is there anything, in your opinion, at this point that Steph Curry can do to potentially pass Magic Johnson as the greatest point guard?
I think it'll be hard, but I think it's just the thing about all of that is like once you start getting to the level of like obviously Steph, I hate ranking players honestly at this point in my life because so much of that once you start to get to the top of top, it's just about opinion.
Yep.
But when you look at what Magic Johnson did, and when you look at you take into account that he did in like 11 or 12 years, like you talking about, I think 3 to 4 MVPs, 5 rings, like that's very hard to match within, and just the style of play played, like how just how famous that style of play was. Not to say Steph's style isn't famous or whatever, because like to people who are born in whatever era, Steph has already passed Magic Johnson. But if you talk to my dad, like, for real. Like, if you talk to my dad, probably nobody could ever pass Magic Johnson as far as a point guard. So that's really hard to say, but I do think Steph's place is cemented. Obviously, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He'll be remembered like when you talk about basketball in the 2010s or early 2020s, you will not be able to talk about basketball without talking about Steph Curry. So I think that his place is cemented in basketball. Where you rank him depends on your preference, and what you like to see. But I think your space is solidified no matter what it is. Like, I mean, man, look, he was a back-to-back MVP. He got a 50, 40, 90 season. He's won, what is it at this point? 3 rings, I think, if I'm not thinking 3 rings.
Yeah, 3, yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, he's an all-point leader in 3-point field goals. Like, his place is cemented in history. Now, again, whether you rank him above LeBron, above Magic, above whoever, that's your preference. But regardless, the day he retires, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. That's a good answer on that.
He's going to the Hall of Fame. The day he retires, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Like when Steph retires, it's gonna be like when you saw Kobe, KZ, and Duncan. We're gonna like plan. People are gonna plan trips to go to Springfield to see Steph inducted to the Hall of Fame. That's how important it is to the game of basketball. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. Dustin, go ahead with number 3.
Alrighty, so the Lakers hired Darvin Ham as head coach. Do you think it's a good hire? You know, being a former NBA player and assistant coach. What do you think the Lakers need to do to fix their team moving forward? Does LeBron bear some of the responsibilities for their struggles?
I have no idea about Darvin Ham as a coach. I can't even answer that. I guess we'll see. Have zero idea as far as what they need to do to handle everything. Like, I don't think there's anything the Lakers can do to be a championship team. Like, if you just even look at their contract structure, right? So you have Russell Westbrook getting $47 million. You have LeBron, I think, getting $40 million. You have AD getting, I don't know how many millions again, but it's a lot. I just named you $120 million probably in cap room. I don't know what the salary cap is, but there doesn't leave much wiggle room in between there. So you're talking about you have 3 max players, 2 of them who you can argue are past their prime, as in LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. Obviously, I think both of them are still good basketball players. I think Russell Westbrook's struggles were a little bit over-exaggerated this season, even if you just look at
bad fit, right? Bad roster fit, right?
No, I don't think it was a bad roster fit. I think they just didn't let Russell Westbrook be Russell Westbrook. Like, if you get Russell Westbrook and then you give LeBron a ball at basically the top of the key, what is Russell Westbrook supposed to do? You know he can't shoot the ball. Yeah. So, like, you've seen 13, 14 years of Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is that type of player who can adapt. If you're gonna get if you're gonna get Russell Westbrook, you have to get the maximum out of Russell Westbrook. LeBron James can switch his game up. Anthony Davis is going to be helped out anyway because Russell Westbrook, you've seen what he does with bigs. He did well with Steven Adams. He even did well with Daniel Gafford. Like he does well with bigs. He does well when he can get in the paint and dish out and do his thing. They had him on the corner. Like, what do you want Russell Westbrook to do when he's coming from the corner or the wing? That's not Russell Westbrook's game. But I don't think there's anything the Lakers can do to get back into championship contention because I just think that teams are better than them. But I still don't think they were as bad as the season ended up being for them. I think that they had a lot of injuries. They never really got a chance to put, like, when you paid 3 players a max and they never really get a chance to be on the court. Like, they were missing a whole Anthony Davis for a vast majority of the season. They were even missing the whole LeBron James for 30 games of the season. The only person who was really healthy was Russell Westbrook. The issue is with the Lakers, especially if LeBron is going to continue the way that he's going to play, is he's going to continue to get hurt. Like, you can't be 38, 39 years old coming downhill from 28 feet every game, 8 nights a year, until you're going to play every game. So, I mean, as far as Darvin Ham goes as a coach, I have zero idea. I don't know. As far as what the Lakers can do to get back in championship contention, probably nothing.
Yeah.
But as long as they stay healthy, I think they can at least be a playoff team and at least be a second round team and at least have a very respectable season, personally.
What
Yeah.
about trading for Westbrook?
Trading Westbrook?
Yeah,
But the thing about trading Westbrook is, who are you going to get better than Russell Westbrook? Like, let's actually be honest about this.
What do you think about that Westbrook for Wall rumor?
Why? He hasn't played basketball in 2 years.
I know that was kind of a lose-lose, right?
And also was John. I love John Wall. I think 2016, 2017, John Wall, outside of LeBron James, was the best player in the Eastern Conference. But didn't Russell Westbrook win an MVP that year?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, when was there ever a time when John Wall is better than Russell Westbrook? Like, what time in basketball history did this happen?
Probably never.
So what's the point in trading for a person who hasn't played basketball in a calendar year, who was never better, even at their prime and peak, than the person you have on your team right now?
Yeah.
And for the Lakers, it doesn't make sense. Like, why am I trading somebody who in a year I'm going to get $47 million of cap relief, and I'm going to have to attach a pick when I have no picks? Like, the Lakers still do have to protect their best interest, which is their future. They still have to do that. So why am I trading away another first round pick when we traded 900 billion, gazillion, billion first round picks already? And the fact we get $47 million of cap relief after this season. I'm not doing that. And whoever you trade for Russell Westbrook, like, let's be real. Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double the year before. Even this year, he still averaged 18, 8, and 7. There's not many. I think DeJounte Murray was the only person who did that, who was an all-star. There's not many basketball players averaging 18, 8, and 7. And people talk about, he shot terribly because he shot shots off the backboard. Bro, he shot just as good as he shot last year. I don't know how. I have no idea how he did it. But he did. He still shot his normal 44%, his normal low 30s from the three-point line. He was still normal Russell Westbrook. The only thing changed is he didn't have the ball as much as Russell Westbrook normally has the basketball.
Yeah. Yes, they're in a tough spot. We'll see. I agree. I think they'll be a little bit better. But I don't know that Darvin Ham's going to fix their issues. They're just flawed at its core, I think. And so it's going to be a tough spot.
They have 3 players who take up the vast majority of your salary cap. At that point in time, it's just a lot. And they have so much roster turnover every year. Like, you can't keep switching the roster over every single year and trying to build chemistry with new guys every single year.
Yeah. Stuff. Let's see here. What about the Suns? I mean, so I watched that Game 7 where they're down 50 at home to the Mavs. I couldn't believe it. Do you think Chris Paul is reaching, like, is he almost done? Is he at that point where he's going to need to be a third or fourth option to go deep in the playoffs? Or what do you think on the Suns and Chris Paul?
I mean, I think Chris Paul should have been a third or fourth option regardless. I think the main thing that happened with the Suns was you have a high percentage player in DeAndre Ayton who you don't use. If you listen to Hoops N Brews, I've said this for like 2 years straight. They have a guy who literally consistently shoots at the worst 55% from the field, and they don't use him. Like, he'll miss 2 shots, but only take 10 shots. Bro, if I have somebody who on my basketball team who's shooting 80%, I want to see when he gonna miss. If a man shoots the man shooting 60% and he's taking 14 shots a game, 12 shots a game, give him 18. Imagine what the man could do. I thought too many times they relied upon Devin Booker, who I shout out Devin Booker, but in my personal opinion, he is Allen Houston 2022. He is the 2022 version of Allen Houston, who was, and the people may not remember Allen Houston. Allen Houston was nice. I think Allen Houston got one of the first $100 million contracts in the NBA. Allen Houston was nice, but I don't think Devin Booker is some superstar, some all unstoppable player or something like that. Like, I don't think he's potential to have with Jason. I don't think he's Jason Tatum or Luka Doncic. There is Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and then there is and then there is what Devin Booker is, in my personal opinion. So I think the whole time Chris Paul should have been a third or fourth option. But I think the main thing that's an issue with the Suns is if you're not going to give the ball to Aiden, they don't really have anybody else who can get their own money. Everybody else kind of has to be set up. Like you see, Mikal Bridges, he has to be set up. Cam Johnson has to be set up. I mean, and also too many times in that series, I saw Crowder getting the ball to shoot. Way too many times. There's some games I saw Crowder was taking 5 shots in the first quarter. I'm sorry. Shout out Jay Crowder. There should never be a time where Jay Crowder is taking 5 shots in any quarter. That's not what Jay Crowder is there for at all. So I just think the Suns were flawed in general, and I think the issue the Suns are gonna have is DeAndre Ayton, right? Because the owner, like, all right, so DeAndre Ayton's stats, because of how they use DeAndre Ayton, does not say DeAndre Ayton should get a max contract. It just doesn't. I'm not paying you a max contract when you average Clint Capella numbers. He averages Clint Capella numbers. Like, he averages Clint Capella numbers. I think he's much more skilled than Clint Capella, but the facts are the facts. The stats are the stats. The average is about 16 and 10. I'm not giving you $180 million to average me 16 and 10, but I think he's much better than a 16 and 10 player. So it'll be very interesting to see how that situation plays out this summer. But in general, I think the Suns' best, I think the Suns' best chance to win was last year.
Yeah, I know. It's like the time's running out. I agree with you 100%.
Now, I didn't think that they would lose by 50 points to the Dallas Mavericks in Game 7. That wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah. But I do think that the Suns' best chance to win a championship was last year, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Crazy, man. We'll see what they do going forward. But I agree 100%. And maybe you have to pay Ayton and be like, look, we just got to start feeding him more and see if he can turn into what we hope he can. But it's an interesting spot.
If you give him the ball 16 times a game, he's a 20 and 10 guy.
Yeah. It's like these teams today don't value the dominant big anymore. And it's like there's still athletes out there. I think Wiseman's got potential. Yeah.
Not even that. It's just like, even if you like look at, right, like, all right, like, so you swing the ball around and shoot all these threes, right? And you can't make them. Like, let's say you get in a drive in which you miss 5 threes. You don't know where the ball bounces to. The ball might bounce way back. Like, I remember there was one play. Remember the play when it was in Game 5 when Horford caught the ball and went coast to coast?
Yeah.
That was because they shot a 3 and they missed long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you shoot threes and you miss long, you don't know where the ball is bouncing to. Even if you give Ayton the ball 16 times a game, there's no way he's missing long because he's shooting right at the rim.
Exactly.
If anything else, you get a chance, even if he misses, you get a chance to get your defense set. So the game and pace slows down a little bit. You're not as you know, in transition as much. You're not guarding in transition as much. And Ayton is very, very skilled. And I think he's more skilled than what people think he is. So
I agree 100%. Dustin, go ahead with 6.
So yeah, in my opinion, I think one of the big offseason topics is going to be what happens with the Nets and their offseason moves. And do you think Kyrie's leaving? And I believe that if Kyrie leaves, that KD's done also in Brooklyn.
I don't know. I don't know what Kyrie's thinking. Clearly, I have no idea what Kyrie's thinking. I don't think anybody knows what Kyrie's thinking. I don't think anybody knows what KD's thinking. The thing about leaving these franchises now is like you start, like when you start to get to a place in which you go into, you know, 2 teams in 3 years, 2 teams in 4 years, it's like you start not to become a priority for those franchises, right? So even like I like James Harden, right? You've been on 2 teams in 3 years. It ain't too many places you can go after that, bro. Like you start not to become a priority for these franchises, and I don't know. Like as far as Kyrie, if I was the Nets, I wouldn't want to give Kyrie a long-term contract. Not even because of the vaccine thing and everything else. It's just he literally don't be healthy.
Yeah.
Like
and you never, and you never know where his mental's at too. Like some of the time, you know.
And the year before he took a sabbatical mid-season. I'm never gonna tell nobody, you know what I'm saying, to take care of your mental. I'm never gonna say that. But you also are employed by by you have a job. You have a job that you just decided to take a sabbatical from while you're getting paid $100 and some $1 million. So I don't honestly, I have no idea what's going on with the Nets. I don't know what KD is thinking. I don't know. I have that situation. I think the Nets could be one of the most super teams that never happened. Like I think from the beginning, they've been a concept. Like you sign KD off of Achilles, Kyrie plays, Kyrie gets hurt. The pandemic happens, whatever, you trade for Harden get they've just been a concept from the very beginning. Like they're the teams that they signed just have never been able to play together, unfortunately.
Ben Simmons is going to be their only guy left, probably.
If Ben Simmons is even left, I mean, Ben Simmons has back issues. Back issues are something that may never heal. Do we know if Ben Simmons is going to play again? I think he will, but do we know if Ben Simmons is going to play again?
You can't figure anything out with Ben Simmons these days. I thought for sure he was going to play in a playoff game, but
I didn't. The thing about Ben Simmons is before everything all started, the reason why he was originally out in training camp was because of his back.
Yeah.
That was his original reason for being out, was back issues.
Those are scary, too. They're lingering.
Exactly. So, who knows?
Yeah. Dustin, go ahead with 7. Your Chicago Bulls.
Yeah. So, what do you think? What kind of moves do the Bulls need to make to be able to win a series and be a contender in the East? I mean, man, it's been forever. I'm a diehard Bulls fan over here. And how concerned are you about Lonzo's knee? The report out of Chicago is that he might not even be ready for next season.
I'm very concerned about Lonzo's knee because Lonzo has kind of had injury problems consistently. If you go back to his first year at LA, he was hurt. Second year LA, he was hurt. Lonzo's been hurt a lot. As far as what the Bulls need to do to be a contender, get another star.
Yeah.
I'm
not sold on Zach LaVine at all. How about you?
I love Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
As far as Zach LaVine as a max player, I don't know. But I do love Zach LaVine. I think that Zach LaVine was going to have a lot of knee issues this year. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to judge Zach LaVine after he hurt his knee. Because I do think he was clearly ailing with something throughout the season. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to judge him throughout there. But I do like Zach LaVine. But as far as what they could add, I don't know. Maybe Rudy Gobert. I think they probably need a better center. They upgrade over Vooch. But I'm not sure. One for the Bulls, bro. Even I'm some of the Bulls fans, is me being from Chicago is. I know, everyone was complaining, when they got to coach the playoffs or then whatever. It was bro, the Bulls did what they were supposed to do. They got people back in the stands. They got people excited about basketball in Chicago, Illinois again. People haven't been that excited about basketball in Chicago in at least a decade.
Yeah.
So, I'm not 1,000% sure about what they could do to be a championship. Maybe, like I said, add another star. Added another star at, the center position. Jokic seemed like he's going to resign, but I think if they could add a Jokic, that would set this franchise in a whole different direction, just explode everything. But, I don't know. Yeah. But at least for the Bulls, they will play competitive basketball for at least the next 2-3 years.
How do you overall feel about DeMar DeRozan? Is he the leader that in the locker room that could take the Bulls over the edge?
No.
I'm going to say nope. Yeah.
No, but I do think he's a very good player, and he shows you that this year. I guess he's a leader. I guess he's a leader in the locker room. Leader in the locker room is overrated. I don't think he's a leader on the court that will take the Bulls over the edge. I don't think a DeMar DeRozan led team is a championship winning team.
So real quick, I'm gonna get you out of here on one more question. So a lot of people have been talking about the playoffs, a lot of blowouts in the playoffs. And Ricky G had a good tweet on that saying, when you shoot the three and all you do is live by the three, die by the three, it's streaky. You get a hot shooting team against a cold shooting team. Do you think has blowouts been a problem? Have you been bored watching the playoffs? I know the playoffs have been pretty good, but there have been some blowouts.
I mean, I haven't been that bored. I think like the Heat Boston series has moments in which it wasn't the most fun, but
Yeah.
the Warriors Mavericks series, I think outside of game 1 and game 5, like every game was within 10 points. Like Mavericks didn't get completely outclassed. It's just like they could never get everything working at the same time. Like game 2, Luka is nice, Brunson is nice, Spencer Dinwiddie commits crimes against humanity. Game 3, all three of them are nice. Maxi Cleaver and Reggie Bullock literally don't hit a shot. Like they don't hit a three. That's not supposed to happen. Y'all are here to shoot the ball. Y'all can't go 0 for 16. What the fuck? Game 4 they went. So like I don't necessarily think it was, but I do agree. A lot of times teams these days swing the ball around and just shoot threes. And if it goes in, it goes in. And if it doesn't go in, it doesn't go in. That's also why I said I think I don't think the Warriors are better than every team that's left, but I do think that they play offense with a little bit more intention than every team that's left.
Yeah, I agree. And credit to their coaching staff. And they got that championship DNA. They've done it before. They've proven it. That's why I like them. I agree with you. I got the Warriors in 6. Dustin, what do you think? Who you got?
Man, I got the Warriors, but I think it's gonna be good. I got the Warriors.
7?
Boston do something though.
Yeah, a lot of people. No one's picking the Celtics. Pavy, have you heard anyone picking the Celtics?
I have not heard a single human being pick the Celtics.
Yeah. So maybe Boston, maybe they're just that good. Who was it? Kendrick Perkins said, like, this Celtics might be the best defensive team in NBA history. Like, come on, man.
Okay, all right, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, that's Kendrick for you. Real quick, what do you think of JJ Redick talking shit about Bob Cousy like that, man? What's he doing?
I mean, I get why people do it, but my thing is you just gotta respect past eras of basketball. I mean, because again, we gotta remember, yes, we're in this time right now, and this is the era that we're in, but our kids are gonna say the exact same things that we saying about people in the 60s and 70s. They're gonna look at people like fucking Joe Harris and say, oh, they played against plumbers, because in the league in about however many years, everybody's gonna be like 6'6" and can do everything, 6'6" and up and can do everything. You're gonna see people, you're gonna have 7'2" small forwards or something like that. And they're gonna look at these guys and say the same thing. I just think you have to respect the past, and you got to respect the past, and also look at what Bob Cousy did when he did it. Bob Cousy was doing behind the back pass, like bro. Imagine. Not granted. I know it seems crazy because everybody does this now, but imagine if you never seen somebody run full speed and dribble the ball.
Yeah.
And you see somebody run full speed and dribble the ball, wrap the ball behind their back and throw a no-look pass. Can you imagine what that would do to you?
Yeah.
And he had, and obviously probably outside of Harlem Globetrotters, he had no access point or no vision point to pull that from. So you just you just have to respect the past, man. That's my only thing is with anything, whether it be whatever genre you're in or whatever thing you're talking about, you have to respect where it come from. So I didn't like him saying about Bob Cousy.
Yeah, especially when I hear it. Like, it's one thing if fans are saying it, but if you're a former player, so people respect you and they trust your opinion, and then you've got a big following, and then you go and say stuff like that, that's when I get upset. So I had to call JJ Redick out a couple times on Twitter. Hopefully he's not mad at me or nothing, but you know what they say. Pavy, it was great having you on, man. I've been following you guys since I got on Twitter. Love you guys' content. You guys got me in touch with Ricky G. He's been a great follow. Love what you guys are doing. Keep it up. And best of luck going forward, bro.
My dog, thank you, man. Appreciate you, and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Dustin, good stuff, bro.
Yeah, thanks, and nice to meet you, Pavy, and good luck in the future.
My brother, thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Have a great one, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.